All right, let's jump right into this. Today we're looking at a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive way to figure out who you really are. If you've ever felt a bit lost, the usual advice is always to add more to your life. But what if the real answer is to subtract?
This quote right here really gets to the heart of what we're talking about. It's a tough one, right? Because it forces us to look at this comfortable lie a lot of us tell ourselves, that we can somehow hang out in negative environments and not have it affect us. But as we're about to see, that's almost never true.
So let's start by breaking down this common trap, what we're calling the identity lie. This is the whole idea that finding yourself is about piling more things on. But in reality, that very approach might be the exact thing that's keeping you stuck.
I mean, who hasn't felt this way? It's that feeling of just being in a funk, not knowing which way to turn, or just not having the energy to even try. It's a super frustrating place to be, and the typical advice, find a new hobby, set more goals, well, that often just adds more noise and confusion to the mix.
And that brings us to the core concept here, the elimination mindset. Now, this is what's so interesting. It totally flips the script. Instead of looking for what to add to your life, you start by asking a much more powerful question. What can I get rid of?
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the standard advice, add hobbies, add goals, add friends. But now look at the right. This is the real first step. The fastest way to figure out who you are is to get brutally honest about who you are not. It's not about being able to say, I know exactly who I am. It's about having the guts to say, you know what? I know for a fact I am not that.
So how do we actually do this? Well, step one is all about cutting the excess. Think of these things as anchors in your life. The people, the places, the habits that are just weighing you down. And this is so critical because these anchors don't just hold you still. They drain your energy, they hijack your focus, and they leave you with nothing left for the stuff that actually matters.
So what does this excess actually look like in real life? Well, it's that group of friends, the ones I'm talking about. They gossip constantly, and deep down you know they don't have your back. It's that bar you keep going to that always leaves you feeling awful the next day. Or, hey, maybe it's just the computer screen that you use to hide from real human connection. Basically, it's any person or place that is holding you back from who you could be. And here is the amazing thing that happens when you start cutting. When you stop giving your time and energy to those people and places that bring you down, something almost magical happens. You don't even have to go searching for the right things. By just getting rid of the wrong ones, the right people, the right opportunities, they just sort of show up right in front of you. What if clarity isn't something you find, but something you uncover?
Okay, let's get into step two. Once you've started clearing out the big stuff, the next move is to stop leaving crumbs. This is all about breaking a really subtle but really destructive habit that's basically stealing peace from your future self.
So what are crumbs? Think of them as the little seeds of future anxiety that you plant today. They're the broken promises, the little white lies, the lazy shortcuts, all the things you do that you know in your gut are going to come back to bite you. Every single crumb creates this little debt that you'll have to deal with later, and it just creates this low-level hum of stress in your life.
Here's a perfect, simple example of how that works. Say you borrow money from a friend. No big deal, right? But then you don't pay it back when you said you would. Now that one little crumb of a decision creates a future where you're literally ducking your head at the grocery store, hoping you don't run into them. You've created a whole stress cycle for your future self over one small thing.
But here's where it gets really good. There's a huge payoff when you decide to just flip the script on this whole behavior. This is where you get proactive. Instead of leaving behind these little crumbs of regret, you can start intentionally building a future based on something way more powerful, residuals. And that's the bottom line, right? It's a choice. You can see it here. On the left, you can keep leading crumbs, which always leads to a future filled with guilt and regret. It just drains you. Or you can choose the path on the right, creating residuals. And that path leads to a future with actual peace, freedom, and the ability to design the life you really want.
And residuals are beautifully simple. They're just the small, smart choices you make today that end up paying you back tomorrow, sometimes with interest. It could be as tiny as setting out your coffee stuff the night before to make your morning easier. Or it could be as big as paying your bills on time so you never have to feel that anxiety. Each one is like an investment in a less stressful future. They build momentum, they build self-trust, and over time they compound, creating a life where things just work.
And listen, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this right here. Your identity is shaped just as much by the places you refuse to go and the people you refuse to deal with as it is by the things you actually do. Choosing to eliminate isn't about depriving yourself. It's one of the most powerful ways to define yourself.
So I'll just leave you with this question that chew on. What's the first anchor you need to cut loose? What's the first crumb you need to stop leaving behind? The path to finding out who you really are, it doesn't start with some grand quest. It starts with one single, ruthless act of elimination. Get rid of what's wrong, and you might just be shocked to find that what's right was there the whole time.